What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and we're going to finish up our SEC predictions and also give our SEC Conference Championship predictions here as well. So this is Arkansas, one of the teams that we did not do earlier in the week, and you can see the left side of the schedule. I've gotten every game exactly right. Yes, that is correct. We're on a roll with the Arkansas Razorbacks, but we are going to be making some changes here in the second half of the season. So here are the changes that I made, and we're going to give them 3 more losses. We're going to give them a loss to Auburn, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State. So yeah, 3 more losses than what I had predicted originally. That's going to put them at 4-8 overall. So that's a tough season there for Arkansas. But you look at that game against Ole Miss, their defense, I don't think it's going to be able to stop them. Auburn, I think, is going to win this weekend, and Mississippi State, at least they get them at home. Maybe they'll have a chance to pull off that upset. Arkansas is known to pull off an upset or two, but we will see what actually happens. Moving on to Kentucky, we've only missed 1 game so far. We missed the South Carolina game. They were able to win that game. You know, Debo Samuel went out with an injury in that game. If South Carolina had not lost him, they may have won that game. They also had a lot of problems in the kicking game. South Carolina is one of those teams I think is still underrated. I know they've got some losses, but they could very well be maybe even almost undefeated right now. So that's what we had for Kentucky in the second half of the schedule. We're not going to change anything. We're going to leave it just like we had it. I do have them losing to Mississippi State on the road this weekend. I think they beat Tennessee at home. Tennessee not very good at all right now. Ole Miss, that's a toss-up to me. I think because it's at home, I think Kentucky wins it. On the road at Vanderbilt, I think I think Kentucky's the better team. But playing on the road, I mean, Vanderbilt's going to get a win somewhere in there. And then I think they lose to Georgia and finish things up with a big win over Louisville. All right, so moving on to our next team, that is Mississippi State, another team that we have got exactly right. Take a look at the left side. A lot of the top teams is where I made a lot of mistakes. Down here on these middle card teams, the lower tier teams, I've been doing really, really well. So, yeah, left side here is looking good for Mississippi State. Had them losing to Georgia and Auburn, winning the rest of their games. I did call that upset over LSU in the preseason, so other than that, not a whole lot of tough picks to make. So for the second half of the season, what are we going to do? We're actually going to give them an additional win. We're going to give them that win over Arkansas that we just talked about. So other than that, we're going to keep everything the same. I do think Mississippi State is good enough to go on the road and beat Arkansas. So that's going to give them an 8-4 record. Pretty solid. If you look at the way they lost to Georgia and Auburn, you think, yeah, it might be a rough year. But I think they finished strong, finished 8-4. And who knows, maybe they get that win against Texas A&M as well. I don't think they beat Alabama, though. Okay, moving on now to Missouri. We've got, on the left side, we've missed 1 game. I gave them the 1 win against South Carolina. I just thought, maybe early in the season they can get lucky, catch a break, win a game. So we missed that game. Other than that, though, that says I picked them to lose to Purdue. I was thinking I picked them to win that game. But yeah, there you go. Missouri. Second half of the schedule is pretty tough. It didn't change anything there. Sorry, I think I made a mistake there. I think I actually had them losing that game to Purdue. And got something messed up there. So anyways, moving on to Ole Miss. We've missed the Cal game and missed the Vanderbilt game. So you flip-flop those, and as far as the overall record, we're still in good shape with Ole Miss. Looking ahead to the second half of the season, I do have them pulling off this upset against LSU. So we're going to change that one. And we're also going to change Arkansas. So let's see here. Yeah, we're going to change LSU and Arkansas, and we're going to change Texas A&M to a loss. So we flipped some things around here. As far as the overall record goes, we're going to give them 1 more win than we originally did. So I got Ole Miss getting to 6-6, even though it doesn't matter because they can't go to a bowl game. But I like them to beat LSU and Arkansas. I think they're playing pretty good football right now. But Texas A&M is playing pretty well also, so we're going to switch that one to a loss for Ole Miss. So, yeah, there you go for Ole Miss. Moving on now to South Carolina. We have not done a good job with this team. We've missed. I had them losing to NC State and Missouri. They win both of those games. I had them beating Kentucky. They lost that game. I had them losing to Tennessee. They won that game. So, yeah, we have not done a good job with South Carolina. After week 1, I thought, man, this team's going to be really good, and they haven't quite lived up to it. But a couple of close losses. Don't count this team out just yet. If you look ahead to the second half of the schedule, are we going to change anything? I don't think we are. No, we're going to leave everything just like it is. I think they beat Vanderbilt easily. I don't think they're good enough to go on the road and beat Georgia. If that was at South Carolina, I think they'd have a chance to maybe pull off that upset. But on the road, no, that's not going to happen. Florida, I still feel like they're going to beat them. Florida's really struggled. Wofford should be an easy win. And Clemson, that's going to be a tough game. I think that'll be a close one, especially playing at home. I think South Carolina may have a chance to pull off that upset. But we're going to go ahead and stick with Clemson to win that one. Now, moving on to Vanderbilt. Here's the left side of the schedule. We missed the Kansas State game and the Ole Miss game. So, flip those around, and we still got the record correct for Vanderbilt so far this season. I didn't think they'd be. Kansas State's been a big disappointment for me. I thought they were going to be a lot better than what they've been so far. So, we missed that one. I had them going on the road and beating Ole Miss preseason. I didn't have that last week. I did call for that upset, or I don't even know if it was an upset. I think Ole Miss was favored. So you look ahead to the second half of the schedule, and we're going to keep everything just like we did before. We're going to have them losing to South Carolina, beating Kentucky and Missouri at home, and losing to Tennessee down there at the end. So maybe they lose to Kentucky and beat Tennessee. Maybe a flip-flop in there somewhere. But as far as the overall record goes, I think we're still in good shape for Vanderbilt. And we're going to keep it just like we had it. So, based off of our predictions from earlier in the week, this is how the standings would look at the end of the season. I've got Alabama winning the West. Texas A&M at number 2. LSU and Auburn tie for 3. LSU wins the tiebreaker there. Mississippi State at 8-4, but 4-4 overall, so they come down just below them. Ole Miss 3-5 in the conference, a bit of a surprise. And Arkansas, a rough season for them as they finish 1-7 and miss a bowl game. So that's how I'm projecting it to be right now. So a lot of football to play. So let's go to the East now. Georgia, I now have them winning the East. I do have them losing that game to Auburn. I think they slip up somewhere, and that's very likely a place that could happen. South Carolina finishes second, 5-3. Florida, I had high expectations for them. They have not lived up to it. They have them in Kentucky at 4-4. Tennessee 2-6, awful year for them. Vanderbilt 2-6, and Missouri 0-8. If only they had a defense, they might be a pretty good team. So, that is the East. Now, preseason, who did we have in the SEC championship game? This is not looking too good. Auburn against Florida. Florida's out of it. Florida's not going to win the East. I think we already know that. Auburn still, it's crazy to think about it, but Auburn still probably controls their destiny in the West. They would need LSU to lose a game, maybe to Alabama. But beating Georgia and Alabama down at the end of the season, I don't think that's going to happen. And they got Texas A&M on the road as well. So preseason, I had Auburn winning the SEC. And it's a huge disappointment to me because I think they had the potential to do it. They just have not had the right play calling and coaching. It's sad, really. Gus Malzahn basically admitted that they were just trying to run the ball and run the clock out against LSU. So that's just embarrassing, really, to blow that lead against LSU. I don't have any confidence in them. So, again, we had Auburn and Florida in the SEC championship game. Yeah, we're going to cross both of those out. I don't see either one of those teams getting there now. Auburn, maybe. That was like a 5% chance. So now our new SEC championship game would be Alabama against Georgia. It's very possible that these two teams could both be undefeated in this game, with both teams likely headed to the playoffs regardless of the outcome of this game. There's a lot of factors that go into that, so really don't know that just yet. But again, I had Georgia losing one game. I'm just not sold on them, doing it every single week. But we'll see. So as far as my predictions for the SEC championship, I do have Alabama winning that game. There's some weaknesses on this team. It's not that Alabama is better than I thought they would be. They're pretty much exactly what I thought they would be. It's just the competition is so bad in the SEC. Who do they play? Who is on their schedule that you say might could beat them? Texas A&M put up a pretty good fight. They're a solid team. They're not a great team. We got LSU coming up at Tuscaloosa. I don't see LSU